but I recognize him in the photo.
Okay. All right. Do you know when that picture was taken?
It's time stamped 4/28/2015, 11:50 a.m.
Do you know if that was the time that it was taken or the time that it was posted?
I do not know.
Did Mr. Travis show you a picture of the shooter on the day of April 28, 2015?
No.
And on cross, you were asked a few things about what he said. Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what he told you. Exactly what he told you.
Mr. Anthony Travis told me that prior to the shooting, a black vehicle was sitting to the west of the residence, 1428 Adele Avenue. Black male with dreads, short black male with dreads, got out and started shooting at the house with a machine gun that had a banana clip.
Okay. All right. And what, if anything, happened, or did he tell you after the shooting occurred?
He did fill out
No. My question is what, if anything, did Mr. Travis tell you the shooter did after he was done shooting?
He got into the shooter did go back to the same black vehicle and leave in the black vehicle.
Okay. Do you know if Shannon Stillwell was driving that vehicle?
No.
Right. Do you know if Trontavious Stevens?
No.
Do you know if Trontavious Stevens is 5'4"?
No.
Do you know if he wears dreads that are in his head?
No.
Do you know if Mr. Based on the questions that were asked.
I'm going to object as to leading.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may I respond?
You can rephrase your question.
All right. Have you ever seen the pictures that were placed in front of you as State's Exhibits 413 Yankee and 410 Yankee prior to Mr. Sharp showing them to you today?
No.
And do you know whether or not Trontavious Stevens is a member of YSL?
No.
I do have a few more questions. You testified that there was a banana clip that Mr. Travis described to you, correct?
That's correct.
All right. In your training or experience, is banana clip the type of formal terminology used to describe such things?
It's the improper terminology for a magazine.
When you describe a magazine, what do you have? What do you understand? Or what do you communicate to the jury?
In reference to this report with Mr. Anthony Travis, I believe he was talking about a rifle magazine, kind of similar to the one I have mounted on my vest.
How is it shaped?
In the shape of a banana.
And what is the purpose of this magazine or banana clip, as Mr. Travis described?
It feeds ammunition to the firearm.
Did Mr. Travis tell you at that time whether or not he knew the shooter to have emptied the magazine or the banana clip?
No.
And what kind of rounds would be put inside of a magazine for a rifle?
223 762.
And what shell casings were found on the scene of the shooting, crime scene of 1428 Adele Avenue Southwest?
223 762.
And when Mr. Travis described to you what he observed the shooter to do, did he tell you if the shooter got into the driver or passenger side of the vehicle?
I don't remember if he told me.
And based on your training and experience, about how many rounds can a magazine for a rifle hold inside of it?
With a, depending on the type of magazine, 223 magazine can typically carry about 30 rounds.
And about how many shell casings were found on the scene to your recollection?
32.
Do you know how many people were inside the vehicle based on what Mr. Travis communicated to you on that evening?
I do not.
I have no further questions.
All right, Mr. Short, any brief cross? All right, thank you for your time, officer. You are excused. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, the state now calls to the stand crime scene technician Alfred Turner.
Can all of the attorneys do everybody a favor and have, when you know we're going into this sort of redirect, have your witness at the door ready to walk in, please? Thank you.
I do. It's Alfred Turner, ALFRED TURNER.
Good morning, Mr. Turner. Are you employed?
Yes.
And where are you employed?
City of Atlanta Police Department.
And how long have you been with the City of Atlanta Police Department?
30 years.
And what is your official title at at the Atlanta Police Department?
I'm a crime scene supervisor.
And have you always been a crime scene supervisor?
No.
What was your title prior to becoming a crime scene supervisor?
I was a crime scene tech.
Okay. And what do you do in your current capacity as a crime scene supervisor?
What I do is I supervise a team of 5 crime scene techs. And what I do is I monitor their ability to collect evidence, process evidence, and testify in court.
And what were your duties as a crime scene technician?
It was similar, except I wasn't supervised then, but I had a supervisor at that time.
And when or about did you become a supervisor at the Atlanta Police Department's crime scene technician department?
That was in 2015.
Do you remember the month?
I believe it was like August, maybe.
About how many crime scenes would you say you've processed in your 30-year career?
Maybe around 7,000, 8,000.
How do you ordinarily become aware that there is an active crime scene for you to process?
What we do is we monitor a radio on a main channel, and we are dispatched through the department by a zone officer.
And what does it mean to secure a crime scene?
Secure the crime scene is usually what the officers do. What they do is once they call us to a scene, then they actually stand by and just monitor the evidence and victims who may have been involved, and then they call us out to start to investigate it.
Why are crime scenes secured?
They're secured so evidence won't go missing.
And what is crime scene tape?
Crime scene tape is what's used to block off the crime scene, so we won't have crowd control.
Crime scene tech Turner, Supervisor Turner, do you have a standard method by which you routinely process a crime scene?
Yes.
And could you describe that process for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Usually what I do is if I have a crime scene, I initially talk to either the investigator or the officer that's on the scene so I can get a kind of overview of what happened. And from that point, I either work into the crime scene and out the crime scene, or either with the information that they're given from where it began to where it actually ends. And at that point, I'll start taking photographs, and then I'll start marking evidence, and then I'll start collecting evidence at that time.
Do you, about how long does it take to process a crime scene?
It varies depending on the crime scene. If it's something like a high profile scene, sometimes it can be days. Something like a homicide, maybe 3 hours. Shootings, 3 hours. Bank robberies, maybe about an hour and a half or so.
And in your current capacity as a supervisor, do you still process crime scenes at all, or is that not the case?
That's not the case. I usually go out to make sure the team is don't have any issues with anything, and make sure that we're giving the best job to the city as possible.
When you did process crime scenes, how did you determine where to start processing your crime scene?
Again, usually the officers will give us a kind of a run through of what happened. And then from that point, you can kind of see how the crime scene kind of go, by visual looking at it.
Earlier, you spoke about taking pictures at a crime scene. Do you recall testifying to that?
Yes.
And is there a certain method by which you take pictures?
Yeah, you just basically take overall photos of everything that you see at the scene, and the evidence. You take photographs of where the evidence was. You kind of take it far back, and then you take it close up, so you can kind of pinpoint where it was.
What do you do with the pictures after you take them?
I download them and turn them into our photo lab.
How do you go about the evidence collection process? Is there a certain way you store evidence?
Yes, we have a storage room. We also have a evidence room at the police department where evidence is actually taken, or our evidence can be sent to our crime lab or either GBI crime lab.
How do you take the evidence? Do you put it in your pocket and go to the lab, or what do you do with the evidence?
No, the evidence is bagged, tagged. It usually have the complaint number, the victim, the time it was collected, what's inside the bag, the time it was collected, and I have my initials on every piece of evidence that I collect. And then at that point, it's either process it if it needs to be processed, and then if it doesn't need to be processed, then we'll send it to either a crime lab so they can process it from that point.
Do you run any types of tests on evidence that is collected from the crime scenes that you used to run?
Yes, we print evidence. We have different methods of processing that we use.
What type of tests would you normally run on, say, shell cases?
On shell cases, we usually run, we'll print those with black powder. We usually super glue them first, and then we use black powder to process them.
What does super glue do for testing the shell case?
What super glue does is it actually lifts the prints up and kind of make them rise. And then after that, if they're on there, you can kind of see them, and then you can use the fingerprint powder to actually take the print off of it.
In your experience as a crime scene tech, Have you ever gotten a fingerprint off of a shell casing?
No.
Why not?
Usually the casings are too small, but we try all the time.
Do you prepare, well, did you, in your former capacity as a crime scene tech, not a supervisor, prepare crime scene diagrams?
No.
Why not?
We used to do them when I started back in '93, but then it was taken over by the investigators. So the investigators or the officers do the actual diagrams now.
What is a crime scene record?
A crime scene record.
A record or report?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, a report. A report is what we actually do when I take photos. I have to do a log of each photo that I take. When I take evidence, I have to do a actual log of every piece of item that I take. And then I actually have to do a whole narrative of what I did from beginning of the crime scene to the ending of the crime scene.
Why might you prepare crime scene records?
It's needed for court purposes. For one, it's needed for my records. It's one. Photo Lab actually has one to actually make sure that the photographs match the picture that was taken. So every piece of item is used to show that all these things were documented properly.
Do you recall working on April 28th, Tuesday, April 28th, 2015?
Yes.
All right. And do you recall, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what, if anything, you recall about working that day?
I was called that a shooting occurred at 1428 Adel Avenue Southwest. And Officer Pitts advised that he needed photographs and evidence collected at that crime scene.
Okay. And to your knowledge, what is located at that address?
When I actually got to the address, I noticed that there was a bunch of shell casings in the streets, in the yard. A few, I think it was 3 vehicles had damages from gunshots, and the residents had a bunch of gunshot damages to the residents.
Did you see any people at the scene?
Yes, I did. I saw some other officers, and I believe some investigators was there, but again, that was in 2015.
Do you recall what time of day it was, or around or about when you arrived?
Around 4:00 in the morning, because I work midnight shift.
Do you recall the weather conditions at that time?
I believe it was just kind of cool, but
Better question. Was there sun up or was the sun down?
no, the sun was down. It was dark.
Was the crime scene secure when you arrived that day?
Yes.
By any chance, would you recall who secured it?
I would think that Officer Pitts would have secured the scene.
Did you go to the crime scene alone, or were you accompanied by anybody?
I was by myself.
Okay. So did you in fact process this crime scene that is under discussion at this time?
Yes.
What was the first thing that you did on Tuesday, April 28th, 2015 to process this crime scene that we're talking about?
Do you mean when I arrived on the scene?
Yes, sir.
I talked to Officer Pitts so he can kind of give me an overview of what happened.
And did you, as you described earlier, for this scene, put evidence placards down?
Yes.
And did you take pictures?
Yes, I did.
And did you collect evidence?
Yes.
And what evidence did you collect?
I collected 34 shell casings.
Do you recall what type or size of shell casings they were?
Yes.
Is it not apparent to you at this moment off the top of your head?
I just didn't want to get the number wrong.
Okay. Would anything help refresh your recollection?
Yes, I can.
I'm going to approach the witness with remarks. What would refresh your recollection?
If I looked over my notes.
Okay. I'm going to approach the witness with what's been pre-marked as State's Exhibit 10KK, and I'll allow you to look at this and see if your memory's been refreshed. I'm going to take that so that you can look at that.
Okay, there were 223s and actual 7.62 by 39, which is assault rifle shell casings.
As it relates to this crime scene that we're still talking about, how many evidence placards did you put down that day?
34.
And 34 placards went next to what evidence?
Each shell casing.
And did you take any pictures of these placards next to the shell casing?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall about how many photos you may have taken that day?
I think it was a total of 128.
Okay. Would you recognize those photos if you were to see them today?
Yes.
All right. I am now approaching the witness, Your Honor, with what has been pre-marked as State's Exhibits 11 capital to 138 capital.
Right.
Yes. And please take a brief moment to just look back over those. And when you've done looking at them, angling them away from the presence of the jury so that they're not able to see those exhibits. Yes, sir. And then look at me when you're finished. chance to review those photos, those exhibits?
Yes. Yes.
And, do they, what do they reflect?
They reflect the crime scene that I took photos of.
What is the address of that?
1428 Adale Avenue.
And where did you take those photos?
That was on April 28th, 2015.
And are those photos that you are now seeing, as state's exhibits, 11 Kappa Kappa to 138 Kappa Kappa, fairly and accurately represent the crime scene of 1428 Adele Avenue Southwest, as it was on the day that you were dispatched to that location, on April 28th, 2015?
Yes.
Have they been changed in any way?
No.
Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to admit state's exhibits 11 Kappa Kappa to 138 Kappa. Your Honor, and request permission to publish, subject to your ruling.
All right, those are admitted and you may.
Yes, Your Honor, and I will be only publishing just a few.
All right, thank you.
All right. Mr. Atkins, if you would publish state's exhibit number 11, Kappa Kappa, and crime scene Turner, you will see it populate on the screen behind you and on the laptop before you. So.
Okay.
Now showing you state's exhibit 11 Kappa Kappa. Crime scene Turner, can you, Supervisor Turner, excuse me, can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what it is that we're looking at here in this exhibit?
That was basically a photo of the street area on Adale Avenue.
You described earlier overviews of, you take overviews of pictures. Is this one such type of photo?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of this overview?
It's just basically to show the actual street and actually what the photo shows from a distance.
Now showing you what has been admitted as states 14 Kappa Kappa. What is being shown in this exhibit?
That's also an overall photo of Adale Avenue, and I was showing the actual residence from a distance.
Is this the opposite direction from the previous exhibit that we're looking at in terms of direction?
Yes.
What else do you see? Well, pause that. Turning now to state's exhibit 16 Kappa Kappa. What do you see here in this exhibit, sir?
Again, it was a close-up photo of the actual address with the vehicles parked in the yard.
And I am taking the cursor. Can you see that cursor on your screen?
Yes.
What address pertains to this building where the vehicle appears to be parked in the driveway?
That's the 1428 Adale Avenue.
Turning now to state's exhibit 20 Kappa Kappa. Is this the same vehicle that was shown in the previous exhibit?
Yes.
And do you know, did you mark or notate this same vehicle's presence in your report?
Yes.
And do you know what type of vehicle this is based on this picture?
I think that's a Chrysler Pacifica.
Turning your attention to state's exhibit 41 Kappa Kappa. Is this another view of the same vehicle that was shown in the prior exhibit?
Yes, that's just a photo of the front of the vehicle.
And why did you take photos of this vehicle?
Because it had damages to it.
Okay, what type of damages did you observe at that time?
It had gunshot damages.
Showing you now state's exhibit 32 Kappa Kappa. From what angle of the vehicle was this photo taken?
That was just showing the driver's side and also the yard. You're just showing the driver's side and the yard of Adale Avenue.
Now showing you state's exhibit 30 Kappa Kappa. What is that mark that appears to be on the vehicle right where the cursor is circling about? The delay, where the cursor is pointing to just below.
That's a gunshot that's the rear driver's side quarter panel.
And to your recollection, do you recall about how many defects or gunshots to this vehicle you took pictures of?
Not to be exact.
turning your attention to State's Exhibit 31, Kappa Kappa, and I am again moving the cursor where it's dragging to this area. You see there where I'm encircling. Do you see that?
Yes,
Why would you have taken a photo of this particular area?
because there also is a damage that possibly came from a gunshot as well.
I want you to look a little bit closer to the bottom of State's Exhibit 31, Kappa Kappa, where you see this indentation in the vehicle where the cursor is placed. Does that tire appear to be inflated or deflated?
Appears to be deflated.
And do you, excuse me, right, you see that cursor?
Hmm.
And does that deflate it? Excuse me, actually, I'll go to that. Right. Now showing you State's Exhibit 17, Kappa Kappa. What type of vehicle are we looking here at in this exhibit?
I believe that's a Dodge Charger.
And did you also notate this particular vehicle in your report?
Yes,
And why would you have taken special notice of this?
because that vehicle was also parked on the sidewalk at the same address and also had damages to it.
And I am now, just a brief moment, okay. Showing now State's Exhibit 19, Kappa Kappa. Do you see this rear photo of this vehicle, same vehicle?
Yes,
All right. And is this just another such view of the vehicle, four quarters of it?
yes, just a different angle.
All right. Showing you State's Exhibit 23, Kappa Kappa. Why would you have taken a frontal view of this?
I took a frontal view because there's a damage to the front hood of it, where it's parked at.
Do you see where this cursor is moving towards at this time? All right, it's kind of delayed, but there we go. You see that area right there? It's darker than the rest of the concrete.
Oh, yes.
Does that appear to have been from the damage, or do you, to your recollection, was that there prior?
I'm not sure. I just took a photo of where it was parked, so I'm not really sure if it was there before.
Now showing you State's Exhibit 24, Kappa Kappa. Supervisor Turner, what is this marking or hole, if you will, on the hood of the Dodge vehicle?
There's also a damage from gunshot to the, I guess, front hood of the vehicle.
Now showing you State's Exhibit 25, Kappa Kappa. Is this, do you see this indentation on this vehicle where the cursor is attempting to put? There we go.
Yes.
And what do you know that to be based on your training and experience?
And that's also gunshot damage right there on the top hood.
Are there two markings in the same vicinity on this exhibit?
From my experience, it looks like the gunshot went through the hood and kind of stopped at that top part.
Turning your attention now to State's Exhibit 33, Kappa Kappa. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury why you would have taken such a photo?
And also this vehicle in Infinity was parked in the same driveway, and it also had damages to it as well.
Do you see anyone in front of the home?
Yes.
Did you get a chance to speak to them?
No.
All right. Now showing you State's Exhibit 36, Kappa Kappa. Can you describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury the damage that you observed to be from bullet defects on this particular vehicle that was there?
Yeah, we had damages from the passenger side front hood, and I believe it's a damage to the passenger side rear door, I believe.
Is that a separate defect from the first that we just observed in the prior exhibit?
Yes.
And this is State's Exhibit 38, Kappa Kappa. Now showing you State's Exhibit 39, Kappa Kappa. Is this another defect that you observed on that day, on that morning, on the same side of the vehicle?
Yes.
All right. What view are we looking of the vehicle, and why would you have taken this?
And that's just show the rear of the vehicle, showing the tag of it.
And why would you have taken pictures of the tags of these vehicles?
We usually make sure that the tag matches the actual vehicle.
Now showing you State's Exhibit 42, Kappa Kappa. Why did you take this photo?
It's the front of the residence.
And but why would you have taken this photo?
We like to show that that this is an actual the photo of the residence is actually where majority of the damage is actually happening at.
And now showing you State's Exhibit 43, Kappa Kappa. What is the purpose of this photo that he took?
It shows that the front window of the residence had multiple gunshot damages to the window.
On this photo alone, from this viewpoint, are you able to describe or count how many gunshot defects you see in this window?
No.
Showing you now State's Exhibit 44, Kappa Kappa. Using this photo, is this the same window that was shown in the prior exhibit?
Yes.
And from this, can you count for the jury how many defects you see to this front window here?
1, 2, 3. Looks like about 3.
Utilizing State's Exhibit 44, Kappa Kappa, how many defects do you see?
And on this one is 2.
Do you see? You see the cursor?
Yeah.
All right. Is that a defect?
Okay, it disappeared.
Still right there. Cursor. All the way at the bottom.
It's not on mine, but
Oh.
yeah, but that'll be 3.
Okay. All right. Is this a different photo or a different view of the same front window that had defects?
Yeah, it's just I think it looks more like a closer up photo, but same window.
Is this a different defect than the 3 that we just previously looked at?
I believe it was just higher. The photo looked like it was just higher up.
All right. What about this one in State's Exhibit 47, Kappa?
That's one defect.
I'm sorry?
It's just one gunshot.
Okay. Is this a separate from the previous 3 that we just saw?
It was quite a few, so I'm not really sure.
All right, no problem. Okay. All right. Now turning your attention to State's Exhibit 48, Kappa Kappa. What are we looking at here?
This is an overall view of once I took my initial photo of the actual street. This was to show you that the actual shell casings were out there, but without the numbers, you wouldn't have been able to see them. So the numbers actually show each shell casing where they were actually laying.
Is this an overview of some of those placards that were placed out there?
Yes.
Objection 403, cumulative, waste of time.
Your Honor, these are separate photos and they're all, I've actually truncated this considerably, so.
Okay, well, get it.
It's not gonna be long.
Let's move through it as quickly as possible.
Sure thing, Your Honor. State's Exhibit 49, Kappa Kappa, is this yet another view over, a different angle of the similar view of the placards?
Yes.
All right. Okay, again, is this a different view of the beginning of the numbers from which you started, with the placards?
Yes.
And that is State's Exhibit 51, Kappa Kappa. All right, showing you State's Exhibit 53, Kappa Kappa. Is this, what do you see here?
It was a marker number 11 of a shell casing.
Is it away from the rest of the shell casings or placards that you saw or put down that day?
Yes.
Okay. Showing you State's Exhibit 52, Kappa Kappa. What,
Same objection, Your Honor, cumulative, waste of time.
All right, I mean, at some point, it certainly becomes that, so please, utilize the ones that are necessary to be able to tell the
sure, Judge.
incident.
I am
Not
going
that
to,
move on. Go ahead.
I'm going to fast forward. Um, and I'm going to point your attention to State's Exhibit 67, capital, capital. All right, here we have State's Exhibit, capital, capital. What are we looking at here?
Showcasing 1 and 2.
And do you recall which shell casings those were in terms of size?
There was 223s.
All right, showing you State's Exhibit 68, capital, capital. Is this a separate shell casing from those that we saw in the previous exhibit?
Yes.
All right, do you recall what size this was?
I would have to look at my notes to be exact.
Sure. Between the two, excuse me. All right, showing you State's Exhibit 69, capital, capital. Does this capture the shell, another shell casing that you discovered?
Yes.
Showing you State's Exhibit 70, capital, capital. You put down another placard. Is this a different shell casing from the other?
Yes.
And does it go in sequential order to what number?
Yes, it does.
What does the shell casing placards go in sequential? To what number do you stop?
I stopped at number 34.
Showing you State's Exhibit 71. Separate shell casing?
Same objection, Your Honor.
All right, can you ask him maybe a broader question that establishes that each placard is a separate shell or shell casing?
Supervisor Turner, did you take pictures of each and every shell casing?
Yes.
And did you take them by each placard?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to transition your attention to State's Exhibit 101, capital, capital. Excuse me. All right. All right. In this photo, why would you have taken this photo and where was it taken?
That was taken in the inside of the residence.
Okay. And why would you have taken this photo?
I'm just showing an overview of what I actually saw when I walked inside the house.
Were there gunshot defects inside the house?
Yes.
All right. Utilizing State's Exhibit 114, capital, capital, can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where you see those gunshot defects to be?
In this photo, the gunshots are behind the couch.
Is it fair to say they're on the couch?
No, it's in the back of the couch.
What is that where the cursor is pointing?
And those are the gunshot holes.
How many do you see?
2.
Okay. Why would you have taken this photo in State's Exhibit 102, capital, capital?
Because I took a photo of the window from the front. I also took from the inside of the house, showing the damages from the inside of the house.
Showing you State's Exhibit 118, capital, capital. Do you see damages to the window in this photo?
Yes.
All right. How many defects do you see?
I see 4.
Showing you State's Exhibit 103, capital, capital. Do you see any defects to the home in this photograph?
Yes.
Where do you see it?
It's in the wall, just in the middle of the lamp.
All right. Is where the cursor is pointing, where that defect that you're describing is positioned?
Yes.
Showing you State's Exhibit 108, capital, capital. What are we looking at here?
There's also a defect in the wall near the, I guess that's a horn on the wall.
Showing you State's Exhibit 105, capital, capital. Do you see a defect in this photo?
Yes.
Were there multiple defects inside the home?
Yes.
Were there defects downstairs?
Yes.
Were there defects upstairs?
I don't think so.
Turning your attention to State's Exhibit 110. Do you see any defects in this photo?
Yes.
And that is 110, capital, capital. How many defects do you see in this photo upstairs?
That's 3.
I am turning your attention now to State's Exhibit 113, capital, capital. Do you see a defect in this photo?
Yes.
All right. And is that defect where the state's cursor is pointing?
Yes.
Showing you state's exhibit 122, Kappa Kappa. Do you see any gunshot defects in this photo?
Yes, below the picture on the wall.
Showing you state's exhibit 124, Kappa Kappa. Do you see any gunshot defects in this picture?
Yes,
How many do you see?
2.
Showing you now state's exhibit 125, Kappa Kappa. Do you see any gunshot defects to the door in this photo?
Yes,
All right, is that defect where the state's cursor is moving?
yes.
Are all of those defects that you described noted, or excuse me, are those photos that you took showing those defects noted in your crime scene record?
Yes.
Okay. And all of the defects that you saw, were there any placards next to the defects?
No.
Why wouldn't you put placards next to the defects?
Usually the investigators didn't request any for those, for this actual case.
The vehicles that were affected by the gunshot defects, what, if anything, does APD do anything with those vehicles?
Yes, what we do is we impound the vehicle and then we search it later if that's something part of the investigation.
Based on your training and experience, are 7.62 rounds larger than those that would typically go into a handgun?
Yes,
Based on your training and experience as a crime scene tech, are 223 caliber rounds larger than those that would go into a handgun?
yes,
Earlier, you talked about the types of testing that is done on shell kits and evidence. Do you recall that?
yes,
You talked about super glue and black powder being used in that process. Do you remember that?
yes.
Did you in fact perform any testing on the shell cases that were recovered from this crime scene?
Yes.
And what testing did you perform?
I did the super glue and a black powder.
And did that testing yield any results of any value?
No.
After such tests were run, what, if anything, did you do with that evidence, specifically the shell casings, once you completed it?
The shell casings was turned over to APD Crime Lab.
And what does APD Crime Lab do, if anything, with those shell casings?
They do ballistic testing on them.
Are you involved with the ballistic testing?
No.
Supervisor Turner, you stated earlier that you prepare crime scene records. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Did you prepare one for this case?
yes,
And did you create it at or near the time that you performed your particular part of this evidence logging?
yes,
And would you recognize that crime scene record as shown today?
yes, I would.
And I believe it is before you, it is identified as State's Exhibit 10 Kappa Kappa.
Yes,
And do you recall that being the exact crime scene record that you authored?
yes,
Has it been changed in any way?
no,
Has it, does it accurately, fairly and accurately represent the work that you did and the writings that you put in there at the time that you authored it?
yes,
And, or does that crime scene record contain all of the descriptions of the photos that you took on that day?
yes, it
Does
does.
it contain all of the descriptions of the evidence that you collected that day?
Yes,
Does it contain all of what you did around or about that time on April the 28th, 2015?
yes, it does.
Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to admit State's 10 Kappa Kappa men.
Your Honor, I would object to submission. The testimony, or it would be cumulative of the testimony already provided by this witness.
Your Honor, I intentionally kept the witness from going through each thing for that very purpose, so that it would not draw such an objection, Your Honor. So trying to mince words, obviously.
Your Honor, the statement would be testimonial. It would be unnecessary. Photographs have already been admitted, and this witness has already testified. The record itself would be cumulative of everything that has been entered thus far and has been testified to. I would object.
And much like an autopsy report, Your Honor, it simply explains exactly which photo he took and what he did, and it's not cumulative for that reason, based on that fact. It doesn't, he did not testify to everything contained.
It's admitted.
All right, I would like to direct you to your report, which is 10 Kappa Kappa, and ask you a few questions contained therein. What is the crime scene date listed on your report?
4/28/2015.
According to your report, who's the on-scene crime scene, on-scene officer that was there, present, first responder there?
Adrian Pitts.
What is the crime scene number?
What is a crime scene?
Yeah, what is a crime scene number or identifier?
Well, the crime scene number for us is the actual number that we use to start our crime scene report.
Turning to page 3 of your report, and I just have a few more questions. On that report, do you see something by the mention of artificial lighting?
Yes.
What does that mean with respect to what you did in this case?
That's just a part of the camera that the set for that right there just shows that I use an actual bulb to take the photos because it's nighttime.
At this time, Your Honor, state has no further questions.
All right, do any of the defense attorneys have questions for this witness?
On behalf of Mr. Williams, we have no questions.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Harvey? Okay, all right, thank you for your time. You are excused. And this is probably a good time to break for lunch. And ladies and gentlemen, we have some matters to deal with over the lunch hour, as is not atypical in this case. So I'm going to give y'all until, let's see, it's 1:30. Laura. All right, we're gonna need to take up some matters over lunch, and Ms. Hilton needs to be here for that. Is she readily available, or?
I'm actually, when I saw the email, I was sending word to have her come over, and she's available to come over.
Okay,
Trying to, there was also the matter of preparing and getting the correspondence. She was collecting all of the correspondence she had, and you had everything ready, and we're getting it into the court now too as well.
okay.
And so if we can address at lunch as soon as she gets here, everything else. I think there were other matters I wanted to discuss. I didn't call her permission
Mr. Zachary's attorney?
Yes, so that I could address the court regarding anything that we needed to address regarding this.
Okay, well, that's not what I wanted to address, but I need Ms. Hilton here for it. Gotten a very interesting email. And I'm going to want to discuss it as a bench matter, but it is very difficult to have everybody huddle at the bench. So when Ms. Hilton gets over for us to discuss that, I'm just going to ask that the media and the audience be excused, because you wouldn't normally hear what goes on with a bench conference. It'll be taken down for the record, but it's just too difficult to have a serious, involved conversation huddled around very little space. So why don't you, do you know whether the lunches are here? Why don't we take 30 minutes so that the defendants can eat lunch and then reconvene? Okay. And if the hard copies for the in-camera inspection are ready before then, can you just have somebody to deliver them to my chambers, please? Okay.
We combined them as a WPS, because the court disinclined to receive them electronically.
So y'all gave them to me electronically, what, I think on Wednesday or either Thursday morning. And I said, this is incredibly difficult to sort out electronically, which is why I asked for hard copies. So unless they are amazingly way easier to sort through and set parts aside now, yes, I'd like them as hard copies.
So we are going to give the court hard copies, of course, but the
Well,
court.
you say of course, but you were supposed to have given them to me this morning.
So, Your Honor, what the court got last week was
Yes.
every email just in one combined
Yeah.
email. And what we have done now is actually sorted through, taken out anything that wasn't directly related to negotiations and combine them chronologically in a PDF as it related to each defendant. That's what we were providing. We were trying to
Okay.
clean that up.
Well, that's and I would like it at the lunch hour.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're welcome. So we'll reconvene at 12:45.
Choke, no joke. We be back after lunch, y'all. We be back after lunch. One.